Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the How You Guys review show. Hope you are very well. Back again with another review. Scott Davis, joined by the lovely Linda Marric. How are you, Linda?
I'm fine. How are you?
Very
Still
well,
tired
thank you.
still tired from a late night screening for this, but yeah, fine. Feeling
Indeed.
okay.
It's been a busy week all round, hasn't it? It's been quite
Yeah.
with
Mental. Yeah.
reviews and the Oscars and loads of things in between. But yes, we have
Yeah.
one more review for you this week, and that is our thoughts on Uncharted, the eagerly anticipated video game adaptation of the Naughty Dog video game series, which are very, very good, and I'm a huge fan of. Directed by Ruben Fleischer, who brought us Venom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He also brought us Zombieland 1 and 2, so he's not all bad. I kid. Starring Tom Holland in the lead role as Nate Drake, his companion Sully Sullivan, played by Mark Wahlberg, and we're going to give you our thoughts right now. As you're watching this, the embargo would have lifted, and it's out on Friday this week. Linda, were you aware of the games before going into this? Did you go into this completely cold, thinking it was
Completely cold? I had no idea. It's not that I'm not a computer game fan. I was vaguely aware of it, but never played it. And I do like sort of computer games, but not this one. Not even sort of the slot in remotely sort of in the area of knowing about it. But yeah, so yeah.
You went into this cold. This was just a Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg rump.
Yeah.
For you,
Yeah.
As I say, I was very trepidatious about this particular film for a few reasons. Obviously, video game movies have never been very successful. They've not been very, very good over the course of the years. There's been a few over the years that have not been too bad. For example, there's some fans out there. The recent Resident Evil film was closer to the video games, and some people seem to like that more than the previous franchise that had existed before they rebooted it. But then there's things like Super Mario Brothers and Street Fighter that are not very good. But with this one, what they've tried to do is bring the kind of the games to life by morphing them a little bit, but keeping the spirit of the games into the movie. So essentially, this is a prequel, if you like. It's Nate Drake at the start of his career, shall we say, thievery career. He's an
origin story, basically. Yeah,
adventures, and he meets Sully for the first time. Now, obviously, if you play the games, you know that Nate is older. Sullivan is definitely older. Is grey, has a moustache. We don't have all that. It's kind of stripped back a little bit into the origins of the characters, particularly Nathan Drake, played by Tom Holland, who does his best. Let's say that he does his very, very best to keep this film afloat. They go on a quest to find some buried treasure, as they do in the games. The games are very cinematic, which I think adds another pressure to the fact of bringing them to the screen, because some of the cutscenes are so cinematic that they lend themselves to being a movie. But then, because they're so good in the games, you kind of think, how can they top it in the movie? They do try their best in this one to do it, but they don't quite succeed. But they do a better job than maybe you're anticipating. Linda, tell me from your going in cold standpoint.
I didn't hate it. I thought it was sort of a kind of Indiana Jones wannabe. I thought the action set pieces were really good. I mean, there's lots of CGI, obviously, and very, very silly sort of premise and stuff, but I thought it was quite compelling. I thought it was quite engaging, and I enjoyed every second of watching it. I didn't think it was adding anything to the genre as it is, but at the same time, I genuinely, knowing when the embargo was lifted for this, I was expecting a total mess. And I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't entertained for at least for the duration. I mean, it's a bit too long, I think. It's 2 hours long. Is that right?
It's just shy of 2 hours. Yeah,
just shy of 2 hours. I thought, Tom Holland did a fantastic job. He did his best with a script that wasn't exactly the most imaginative, but at the same time, I thought there were a couple of really good gags in there, and I laughed. And I found all the sort of suspensey things quite suspenseful. There's a particular sort of sequence where they're sort of both him and the sort of the female lead are kind of drowning underneath this sort of contraption and in Barcelona, and I had to inhale with them. So I can't say that it didn't work for me. I think it worked for me more than it did for most people.
From what I can, obviously there was an embargo on this film, so no one's really been not only reviewing it, but also social media reactions are embargoed until you see this video. So no one's been able to really, apart from behind the scenes, because we have a lot of friends in the industry that have been talking about it. It seems to be quite split in that people who haven't played the game seem to have enjoyed the film more than people that have played it. And I think that was always going to be the case because, as I say, the games are so incredible. They're so cinematic, but they're so much fun, and you get to do so much amazing things in with the characters, and there's a great story in it. It's not just an adventure film. There's lots of stuff going on, lots of character development. There's obviously 4 films now. The film takes a lot of its cues from the 4th game, if memory serves, and more sort of the later games than the early ones. But I didn't hate it. I was fully expecting to hate it because of what it was, and because I just couldn't see a way that this way into it was going to work with a younger Nathan Drake, with a younger Sully, and doing it this way. And while it's not the best film in the world, nor is it one of the best films of the year, it isn't that bad, I didn't think. However, I wouldn't say I enjoyed it immensely. I enjoyed little bits of it, shall I say.
I didn't. I know what you're saying, and I think it's really hard when you're a fan of a franchise, be it game or not, to sort of see it taken into a different sort of platform and made to look not like you expected it. I think that's really hard, but I think this film will work better for people who aren't fans of the game, and in general, Tom Holland fans will like it because he really is fabulous in this, and I think I can't fault him. I mean, he did exactly what was needed from him, and I, like, as someone who doesn't really care about the game, I think he fulfilled the job that he was given, and I quite enjoyed it. And I enjoyed him as the character. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, a lot of the fans of the games will say, and it's a similar thing to say the comic book movies, in that people always have a version of the character in their heads from what comics they read. People always like a different version of Batman. There's a different version of Batman that they prefer. There's a different version of Superman they prefer. Excuse me, different version of Captain America. Whatever it is, there's certain strands in the comics that people like and think that's what their version would be. But I remember listening to one of the documentaries on the Batman discs, and Guillermo del Toro says about Batman, this is the same for a lot of people, that Batman is kind of like Jesus, in the sense that just because your Jesus is different doesn't mean he isn't any more of Jesus.
Absolutely, yes.
He's just your interpretation of Jesus. So I think it's the same for the comic books, but also with Uncharted, and also no one. The same with the comic books, particularly with like Batman, because I'm a huge fan. I don't want to see a literal interpretation of the comics. The comics. You want to see someone brings it to the screen and make it cinematic, like lots of people have done over the years. So I give them kudos for the sense they've tried to mix it up a bit, and they've tried to not just be a literal interpretation. I don't think it quite works. However, I think it's much more fun in places, and I think it would have been had it have been just a straight adaptation. That probably would have worked less. And the good thing about this film is that it has a wonderful, energetic, charming, also kind of goofy performance from Tom Holland again, who carries the film all the way through. I don't think many people that are alongside him are particularly good, but he carries the film all the way through, and he is very, very good.
Yeah. What did you think of Mark Wahlberg then?
I like Wahlberg, but I don't think he was right for this part. I think he would have been one of the original conceits was that Mark Wahlberg was approached to play Nate Drake as an older Nate Drake. This was many years ago now, and he kind of stayed with the project. And then because they made it made it sort of an origin thing and made him younger, they made him as Sully. I don't think he's quite right for that character. But again, this is the first cinematic version we've seen. He has a few cheeky Mark Wahlberg moments, and his chemistry with Tom Holland is not bad, but I didn't think he was great in it. But this is Tom Holland's movie. Let's it's Tom Holland's movie.
I'm not a big Mark Wahlberg fan. I think I don't think he's done a good movie in a very long time, but I kind of liked him in this. I thought maybe that's he should probably embrace playing older sort of sidekicks. Now, I mean, I think this pursuit of sort of following the sort of the main character till you're in your 60s is a bit, he's now almost 50.
He must
maybe
be, yeah. He
slightly
must
young.
be
Yeah.
40s. Yeah,
So
he must
I think not to be sort of I just think playing the sidekick and sort of have been the butt of loads of jokes in the story actually really works. It helps soften him. As someone who isn't a great Mark Wahlberg fan, I actually kind of warmed to him because of the role he played. And I at the end of the day, I genuinely, honestly, I think the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm thinking of moments that made me laugh that I thought were quite interesting. And I did not hate the film. I'd be lying if I said I hated it.
Yeah, I didn't outright hate it as much as I thought. As I say, I thought I would go into this and and also then, this is people probably aware of this, of course, but when an embargo is the morning of the day the film comes out, that's not usually a good.
Yeah.
But
sure.
I obviously we don't know what people's reactions are yet because we've only spoke to a handful of people maybe about their reactions after the film very quickly.
Who cares for other people's reactions?
Oh no, I just mean as in we don't know whether people are going to love it or people are going to hate it or anywhere in between. We don't know. We can just give you our opinions and our opinions.
No, I know.
I didn't hate it. I enjoyed some of it. I can't say I enjoyed all of it. It didn't work for me as a whole, but there are moments in there that are decent fun. I think Tom Holland is good in the lead role, and it seems similar to Spider-Man. He seems to throw himself into a lot of the stunts and stuff, which gives it it gives some of the sort of hand-to-hand fight scenes a bit more of a grit and a bit more of realism than when the CGI is surrounding them, particularly towards the end of the film when there's a lot of CGI going on, and some of it's good and some of it's not so good. But I think he carries the film all the way through, which is good, because I think if it wasn't for him, the film would have been lost at sea, shall we say, since there's some nautical themes through this.
There are also a couple of great female performances as well. And Scott, you're going to tell me who they are because I can't remember the names of the actresses.
So there's Sophia Ali who plays Chloe Fraser, who
she's great.
Is in the games if memory serves as well. She was in Grey's Anatomy, so I'm told. And then there's Tati Gabrielle who plays Braddock. She was in Sabrina and she's in that TV show You. Both of those are
oh yes, that's right.
They're sort of they're all kind of vying for the same thing, shall we say? And they cross paths quite a lot. And of course,
Antonio Banderas
as a ruthless Spanish treasure hunter who is out for that. They're all after the same thing. It's just who gets there first. It's one of those who gets there first. Who's going to claim the? Who do you trust and all that kind of stuff. But I can't say I was hugely blown away by any of those performances. But again, they serve their purpose, so I suppose that's a good thing.
The whole thing felt nobody was unsure what they were doing there, which a little bit, like you get the feeling that sort of they didn't get the ethos of the film, but at the same time, like I said, I think there was enough of a story there to keep people interested. But I just felt like it just needed a little bit more for more of a hook. I think a better script would have made this film into so much better, like something bigger, I think. But
I agree.
It is what it is, and it's not bad. It's not terrible, but it's not brilliant.
But we think it's going to be quite a big success, don't we? We think people are going to.
I thought so.
At least make it, so we say, quote unquote, profitable, shall we say?
I think Tom Holland's got enough of a fan base to rescue any movie, in my opinion. These words might come back to bite me, but I have faith in Tom Holland in sort of managing, even if it doesn't make a ton of money at the box office, it will make it when it's released on other formats, and I can't see this failing, really, to be honest.
Yeah, and also obviously there's the fans of the video game who will be drawn just for the curiosity of what they've done with the film, and again, whether it's their cup of tea or not will determine whether it's successful, I'm sure. But I would imagine a lot of people are going to see this weekend. Excuse me. But also there's not else out this weekend, is there, in terms of this is the biggest movie out this week, shall we say?
Oh, there's Death on the Nile, but I don't know. Is that going to do well? I don't know. I'm kind of in two minds about whether it's going to do well. I didn't like it. Not much fan. I haven't seen much. I haven't even seen a poster on a tube station for Death on the Nile.
Same. I think Anyway, you can watch our review of that, and there's other things going on, but we won't talk about that now. So, Linda,
Right,
let's do scores, shall we? What's your score?
3. I'd say 3. 3 stars out of 4. 5. Sorry.
I'm going to give it
yeah.
2. I think 2, bordering on a 2.5, because I gave Death on the Nile 2, but I think this is better than Death on the Nile. just a little bit, just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
So yes, Uncharted in cinemas this Friday, February the 11th. Once you've seen it and you've liked and subscribed to the channel and everything else, leave us your comments, leave us your thoughts of what you thought about the film once you've seen. Obviously, you might be watching this post seeing it, which we appreciate, and we've tried to keep it. In fact, I think we've kept it pretty spoiler.
No, we haven't said anything at all, have we?
So yeah, give us your thoughts once you see it, and you can find all of our details, our social medias from me and Linda down below as well. And also we'll link to the Hey You Guys YouTube channel. You can go back and watch our Oscar nominations live reaction, which was a lot of fun. I thought that was a lot of fun that we had on Tuesday. And Death on the Nile, which is out on Friday. We reviewed that as well, so you can go back and watch that. We will be back next week. What we review next week, we're not too sure, because it's quite a quiet week.
A very quiet week. There are a couple of things.
I don't know if we'll see any of those things, but we'll try our best. But the week after, if we don't not here next week, Cyrano is finally in cinemas, and we can talk about Cyrano, which we're very excited to do. And then the week after, there's a small film coming out about a guy fighting crime. I no idea what that's going to be. Sounds terrible. Anyway, make sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff, and we'll be back very soon for another episode of the Hey You Guys review show. Until next time, have a good weekend. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey